Random House Audio Publishing presents The No Spin Zone, Confrontations with the Powerful and Famous in America. This is the author, Bill O'Reilly. The No Spin Zone. This is it. We're on live in the No Spin Zone. It's a nightmare place for charlatans and deceivers, but it's a great place for you and everybody else who believes in truth, common sense, and decency. In the No Spin Zone, you can watch those charlatans stammer and the spinners slip out in shame. See, this is a place I've set up over my years of TV interviewing with a special set of purposes. In the No Spin Zone, rationalizations are scorned, lies are rejected, and equivocations are mocked. It's a place where quite a few smirks have turned to frowns. To anybody who uses power and fame to exploit the less powerful, the zone is a very dangerous place. On the other side, the zone is comforting to those who live life with a sense of fairness, for it is a place where truth is sought without regret. When Ernest Hemingway decided to write stories that spotlighted the harsh truth alive in this world, he said anybody trying to do that better have a built-in bull detector. I believe I inherited this device from my late father, who would walk out of the room if you couldn't make your point in 60 seconds. Is the No Spin Zone needed? Well, here's how bad things have gotten in America. The Josephson Institute of Ethics reports that nearly half of all high school students steal. 7 in 10 admit to cheating on tests, and 92% say they lie. And most of those kids don't feel much guilt at all. Remorse is becoming obsolete in the USA. Excuses cover all misdeeds. After all, there is a disease to cover just about every immoral action. And if you question that, you are a mean, insensitive person. The misery industry has it all covered. What caused this deplorable state of affairs? Number 1, cowardly parenting. Number 2, corrupt national leadership. As the tree is bent, so it will grow. And today, kids can look all around at so many bent adults, they can hardly guess what it means to be straight. People basking in the spotlight, and I don't mean just politicians, are forever presenting terrible examples to the children of America. Public misbehavior by the famous is a powerful teaching tool. For example, any wide-awake youngster knows that you can make a handsome living in America by being able to spin the truth, that is, twisting the facts of a troubling situation until it is impossible to figure out what the hell is going on. In the CIA, it is called disinformation. In the world of politics, show business, finance, and the law, it's simply called spin. Certain immoral acts can be chalked up to gaining experience. Ever heard of any famous person's youthful indiscretions, experiments with illegal drugs? Someone caught driving under the influence is in my no-spin zone, a criminal. But with a highly paid lawyer's spin, there's no crime. There is only a chemical dependence. Even the slowest of children pick up these lessons very quickly. And by the way, it is hard to argue with Washington, D.C.-based psychiatrist Dr. Sally Satel, who argues that labeling addiction a chronic, relapsing brain disease gives everybody a pass. Criminals don't commit crimes, they make mistakes. And often, it is society's fault that these mistakes even happened in the first place. At the end of the day, every child has learned the lesson of spin. Almost every wrong action can be stripped of consequences, along with the need for feelings of guilt and remorse. It all ends nicely. The wrongdoer walks and maybe even prospers from his problems. Robert Downey Jr. landed a plum role on Ally McBeal. The lawyer earns his dough, and sometimes the media benefit from increased reader and viewership. The show must go on. But this is wrong. Where there is no vision, the people perish, wrote King Solomon in Proverbs more than 2 millennia ago. When there is no public morality, the nation loses its way. Who quoted Solomon's words in his acceptance of the nomination of his party as presidential candidate in 1992? Hint, it wasn't George Herbert Walker Bush, no. The man echoing Solomon's warnings about public morality was William Jefferson Clinton. How ironic it is that Mr. Clinton and his cohorts, during impeachment, gave America the most effective lessons in the history of this country of what spin can really do. Armies of well-paid men and women marched into the living rooms of America via television, weaving blankets of deceit for Bill Clinton. It's just about sex, they wailed. Everybody lies about sex. It's a right-wing conspiracy. It doesn't rise to the level of impeachment, and on and on. The president himself set a terrific example by lying outright to the nation on national television. None of this, of course, was lost on the kids, who, according to a variety of surveys, are lying like crazy and now have embraced oral sex with, you might say, presidential abandon. Mr. Clinton's excellent spin adventure turned out to be just the beginning of the empire of spin. The presidential election of 2000 turned out to be a swamp of distortion, diversion, and brazen deception. Both sides presented unprincipled mouthpieces to utter exhausting, incomprehensible bilge. And much of the press in America readily accepted all the garbage without analysis or reflection. After all, it's too difficult and dangerous to challenge those in authority. The cocktail party invitations may stop coming. We live, finally, in a just world, so maybe that's why the results were so close and why about half of those eligible to vote didn't even show up. I'm not spinning for them. They let their country down. But the exit polls show less than 20% of Americans were enthusiastic about their vote. Most of us voted for the lesser of two spinners. The kinds of things I've mentioned are not trivial to me. They have driven me to disgust and near despair in recent years. That is exactly why I created the No Spin Zone on my TV program, The O'Reilly Factor. The zone is open to anyone. I mean that. We invite all newsmakers to come in and chat with us. If you don't see certain people there who are hot in the news, that's probably because they refuse to enter the zone of no spin. Al Gore would not get his passport stamped, ditto the new junior senator from New York, and former presidential hopeful Elizabeth Dole and Bob Jones III, president of the notorious Bob Jones University down in South Carolina, all declined to enter the zone. Perhaps the most famous no-spin, no-show of all is Jesse Jackson. We investigated his finances for a year before cracking the case wide open. Jackson spun the tax-exempt payments to Mistress Karen Stanford as omissions on the tax returns of one of his foundations. Sure, Jesse. Celebrities from other worlds, especially actors and actresses, shy away from the zone as well. As you probably know, practically any magazine interview you read has been carefully controlled by the star's publicist. Editors and writers agree to avoid touchy issues. Otherwise, they could lose access to other celebrities handled by the same publicist. When you see a famous person walk into the no-spin zone, no such bargain has been struck. There are never preconditions for an interview. Some who don't like the zone spin it as a place where rude questions are asked. That's nonsense. All I ask is for powerful people to respond honestly to the questions, and if they can't, explain why. The Fifth Amendment is alive in the zone, but if you take it, be prepared to explain why you are taking it. The children of America have seen with their own eyes that liars can win and cheaters can prosper. They know our nation will accept venal behavior and, in some cases, reward it with tremendous wealth and power. So why shouldn't they lie, cheat, and steal? After all, it's now part of the culture. After all, the president was caught lying, and he walked. The antidote to this is some no-spin news about people who reject bad behavior. Derek Jeter, the spectacular New York Yankees shortstop, recently signed a huge 10-year contract. Jeter seems to be an honest, hard-working guy and thus a good role model for kids. When asked if that would change now that he makes mega millions and if the money would go to his head, Jeter opined, "No chance, my dad would kill me. A no-spin parent. We need millions more of them." In the hopes of kicking the living daylights out of the spin that has become part of our national dialogue, I brought together 16 turbocharged interviews about the most intense issues of the day. We'll discuss problems like teen sex, inappropriate gay activism, and the exploitation of working Americans. Also, raunchy entertainment. I've chosen the topics that I believe are extremely relevant to all our daily lives. In each section you hear two sides, mine and the opinion of someone who's deeply involved with the issue we're talking about. These debates are taken from interviews I've conducted during my 27 years in broadcast journalism. The interviews are only edited to leave out the uhs, does, uh-ohs, and are you kidding me's, many of which are mine. Printing all the equivocation verbatim would drive you nuts, so I just get to the pith of the interview, as is my wont. In each of these sections, you are the final judge.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?